Welcome to the Esthering Podcast, Life in the Old Zone, where what you've been through matters. I'm your host, Adrienne B. Jackson, ABJ, the Esthering Queen, and today's episode is episode 15, titled Going to College. Since this is just that time of year, everyone's going to college. I want to talk about 10 concerns that should prepare you or scare you regarding going to college. Now, we might be a little bit like behind the eight ball on this one, but here we go. Okay. So, whether you're a parent or a child, these are the 10 concerns you should have had or can have if your child has not went to college yet. Okay. These are the 10 concerns that you should have if your child have not. So going to college is what we're about to talk about. Okay. Everybody ready? I missed you. Let me tell you this one more thing. I'm over 500 subscribers. Stay right there. We getting ready to go. The topic is going to college. You ready? Oh, before we go on in there, this is what I wanted to say. I got something for you. I got something for you throughout this episode. So I definitely want you to wait for it. Okay. I got something for you. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know you enjoy watching me because you know that I produce, direct, create, edit, all of these things, right? So I have a cousin. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we recently just dropped him off in college, and I got a little footage. So I want to share that with you. Let's go. Smith, HBCU. Hold up. Okay, so yeah, my cousin guy has a um, band scholarship. Let it go a little bit longer. Full ride. Okay. And I'm so proud. Let's Johnson Smith. Oh yeah, show me what he sees. Okay. There's no like wow, never. Wait a minute. I'm gonna put there. How do you do it? Him. We had a hard time. We didn't have a hard time, but it was a time. You know, we didn't have a hard time, but it was a time. We had to get up there, and you know, we coming from Atlanta, so we had to drive. I'm coming from Atlanta. They was coming from a little further out, and so we had to drive. I had to drive those 4 hours. Okay, those 4 hours from Atlanta. Actually, I think I went even a little further because we had a little meeting spot. So from Atlanta to North Carolina, it was not an easy feat, but we did it. I'm here. I made it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We got some topics. So we got 10 topics. I said 10 topics that is going to be our concerns that we're going to stress, but not that hard. We're just going to talk about it. We just want to share common things that should come into play when a child is actually in high school, when a child is actually being raised, when a child is considering what they want to do, what they want to study in school, what they want to become after school, what they degree is going to be in, if going to college is on the table. Okay. And we're going to discuss these 10 concerns, these 10 topics. And as I mentioned before, it may scare you or prepare you. Okay. Parents and children alike. Let's go. Going to college. Okay. Going to college. And let's get to your first topic. You ready? Let's go. All right. Let it go all the way. Let it go all the way. So the first topic is no brainer when you have good grades and always new. So that's self-explanatory. You have good grades, your child has good grades, and y'all talked about going to college from the day they were born through all levels of school. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have nothing on my teeth. Okay, from all levels of school, all educational levels of school, you talked about going to school. I know I always ask little kids, so what you gonna be when you grow up? Especially once they start going to school, out of the kindergartens and the preschools and all that other stuff. You just say, that's what you want to ask a kid. Hi, how you doing? What you gonna be when you grow up? And they'll tell you, right? And shame on you, parent, if your child, or maybe not. I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm just trying to say that normally a child can come right back. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be right because you're prepping them. You're prepping them all the way. Let me get a sip of this coffee. You're prepping them all the way. So by the time they get to high school, okay, they are really. It could be junior high actually these days, right? Junior high, they are focused on where they're going. And you also, as a parent, the kid is focused on where they're going, is getting into their minds, getting into their mental, right? And getting into their subconscious, where they want to go. And then you, parent, I know I was, because I wanted my daughter to really, I wanted her to be like something in the medical field. I wanted her to be like a doctor, like a doctor. I did really want her to at least consider it. So I would, you buy the stethoscopes and you buy the skeleton and you talk, bones, that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, because you know what you want. So it's a no-brainer. And then you see how your child does in school. Is that child a C student, a B student, a three A's, three B's, and two C student? You're just kind of awake, is what we're talking about, all along the process, which makes going to college a no-brainer. So like for me, I just knew I'm going. I'm going. I did good in school, was easy breezy. Yes, granted. Granted, I'm looking because I look like a bar went down or something. Like, what is going on up in here? But anyway, um, I knew I was going to college because school was easy breezy. And what I wanted to point out was, yes, I did go to public school. And I don't want to talk down about public school, but I did go to James Monroe High School in the Bronx. And I aced it. It was like, I went to school, I sat in the seat, I paid attention, I made good grades. I made good grades. Okay. We'll talk about a little bit more about me and my good grades later, but no brainer when you have good grades, your child is going to school, right? So if you don't have good grades, are you going to college? When we say school, I'm talking about college here, right? So if your child does not have the good grades, They have, I don't know, what is it, a 2.0 or, grade point average by the time they are graduating from high school. Are they a shoe-in for college? I don't know. I think you should consider that. I think that should be considered. Okay. Let's go. Number two. Where you at? Where you at, number two? The difference between college and high school. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to point out about the no-brainer and making sure that, child is being, you know, trained up the whole time, prepared the whole time. School is on the top of their list the whole time that they are getting uh, educated, from pre-K to 12th grade, and they're tracking, and they're trying, and they're motivated about education, is because there's a difference between college and high school. Okay. Even me, even for myself. And I have to include myself. I have to talk about myself here because I don't have you guys on the line. I don't have you on the line. I really thought that this conversation should have been more of a live conversation. I really did want to do it live. Not because my cousin just went to college. Actually, when we met at our meeting spot, I told them I had already had it ready and had the thing stuck on the window so I could put my phone in there, um, and we could talk about, you know, going to college. I had all these topics already prepared. Excuse me, all these topics already prepared, and I was going to go live, and I thought that was going to be just the perfect discussion to have with a live audience. But I do, you can put your comments below. You can put your comments below, and please do. So the difference between college and high school is, okay, so in high school, you're going to your different classes. For me, high school was, I could still go to class, listen to the teacher, and by the time I was home, went home, got home, all my homework was done. Or if it wasn't too many things I had to do, flip a couple pages, do what I had to do. It just was not college. I got to college, you know, and after sitting in class, they made it their business, okay, to give me work that would have required my undivided attention and maybe an hour of two of homework that I had to get together, research, then get together, you know, then maybe type up and then provide back to them by the next time we met. If class was on Monday and Wednesdays, like that. So for me, it wasn't a rude awakening. It was still a challenge because I like a challenge, but it was definitely not high school. So yes, in high school, I'm sure, yeah, they do give you, I know I went to high school. They do give you work that you gotta also go home and prepare. But I'm just saying, I never found that to be that great of a challenge. And actually, when I went to college, some of my classes were like in the beginning anyway. Well, I would say all. I would say, you do you go to class, right? You go to class and then you pay attention, and you should have a good idea of what it is that you need to do in order to complete your work because you asked the questions. All right. There should not be that great of a struggle, but it is just not that commonplace when you go to college that you're going to be able to whip through, quickly prepare, have your stuff ready. You're going to have to put in the work. Okay. That's all I'm saying. And that's what I realized when I got to college. I was like, oh no, you can't be procrastinating. And I hate to say it, but for myself, I kind of have a trend on that. Okay. A trend on that procrastination stuff. So let's just go on to number three. So, one, are you a shoe in? Two, there's a difference between college and high school. So you have to consider that for your kid. Because I did, okay, let me just tell you this. Because you see what I'm saying. I'm talking like, you know what? College was a challenge for me. Let me just tell you this. I 16, I was in college. 16, I did not go to 12th grade. I didn't have to. Okay. I didn't have to because I was so good in school, so good in my classes. So good. I was offered the opportunity to go to night school in 11th grade so I could complete just the two classes that I would have had to go to 12th grade for. It just been two. Okay. And that was the English and the math. And voila. So I was like, no, I'm going to night school and I'm gonna get up out of here. Okay. I'm not gonna be gone the whole next year if I don't have to. I considered that like something great that I had accomplished. I was like, sure, no biggie. And it was no biggie to me. I went to night school, got that out, bust that out, them two classes, and I was in college at 16 years old, actually. Okay. Number three, here it comes. Number three is what we're going to talk about. Being disciplined goes a long way. And that is true. And I think that also toppled with my procrastination while I was in college, or procrastination, period. Okay. I got that little procrastination trait, or seems like, I like to say seems like it because I don't want to just label myself. So procrastination is not what you want when you're in college. You do not want to be a procrastinator. It should help you to not be a procrastinator. Okay. And that's part of being disciplined. So if you have been disciplined, if you have disciplined your child all along, like your child comes home from school, sits at the table, does their homework, you check it, it's a closed book, you know everything is done, dot, dot, cross, cross, check, check. You're that parent, your child is then still well on their way to going to college and prepared for it because they're very disciplined. And you are too. You're a disciplined parent and you're raising a child who's going to be a disciplined child. What? No, no, I didn't have that. I didn't have that. Hmm. I would get home and be like, I would be like, I think she might have asked me if I did homework, but she knew I did that. I come in there bragging about it. I already did my homework. And I don't know if your mother was checking your homework, but my mother really didn't check my homework. If I had a question, she knew I would ask, but oh, excuse me, but I didn't have any question, and therefore homework didn't get checked. Okay.
Look what just came in. I had to share it because this is not your average coloring book. The designs in this are so different from the usual mandala style. They're fun, modern, and honestly just super relatable. Perfect if you're a teen or adult who loves to color but wants something that actually reflects your vibe. Also, check out the Esthering logo on the back. It is such a cool signature touch. And here's what really got me. 10% of all sales go towards supporting foster children. So not only are you getting something fun and relaxing, you're also helping make a real impact.
Oh, thank you. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Things is going wrong. Don't you know that? Things always want to show all the way out, right? Things always want to show out when you're trying to do something here. Okay. So yeah, that was my little ad that slipped in on us, y'all. That little ad slipped in on us. Just be patient 1 minute, and we're gonna get back. So where were we? We were on number 4, okay? Before the ad slipped in on us, we were on number 4, and let's get right back to it. Let's get right back to it here. All right, number 4. Number 4, number 4, number 4. There we are. Number 4. Is it in college where you get to know yourself? Okay, we're having this discussion. So, in college, did you get to know yourself? Did you go to college? I went to college, and I think you do learn about yourself. It is in college where you get to. I got to learn that I like having fun. This is what I learned. I like having fun more than this. That's well, I cannot say that now. I cannot say that now because I will put business before pleasure now. But I was an only child. I was not always around friends. You go to college and you got a whole dorm full of friends. People in your age category, right? All of them, male and female, right? It's like that. It's a smorgasbord. So the bottom line is I had more fun than education in college. At least my first encounter, I went to a junior college and I went to Elizabeth Seton College in Yonkers, New York. And beautiful campus. I think it was a beautiful campus. And I just had too much fun, you guys. I had too much fun. Anybody who went to college with me at that time can tell you the same. We had a lot of fun. We was looking for fun, okay? Nobody was sitting around looking for you got a pencil, you got a pen. Everybody was looking for fun. Now you had some people, because I had a friend, matter of fact, my best friend, and she was disciplined. You see, she was disciplined. She would sit down and be like, I'm doing my homework, you know? So I have to say, so she was disciplined. So is it in college where you get to know yourself? Yes, yes, yes. You definitely will get to know more about you because when I was home and I had nothing else to do and it was boring, okay, I say quote unquote because I didn't really feel like I was bored when I was home. But what else did I have to do? Like I looked left and right, and it was mother, father, stuff going on, but it was not anything that, I had an option in joining in. So, I do my homework, go in my room and then maybe play with something in there, or doodle or something or write because I used to like poetry all the time. And then that was back in the rap days when you sitting around just writing rhymes. Okay, anybody out there with me? And that's what I did. And that's what I did. So when the time comes when I did get around some friends, I could pull out my book, pull out my little black and white composition book and show them the raps that I wrote. That's what went on in my house, okay, during those school formative years. Okay. Yeah, during those formative years while I was in school. So yeah, in college, I got to know that I liked having fun and that I would go have a good time or run my mouth. I do that now. I do that now. You know, I'm becoming a podcaster, so I'm trying to create content. Somebody calls me, and I'll be like, "Ooh, I'm glad I need to take a break." And I will run my mouth talking on the phone to them, and then find myself late, still trying to get back to uh, the mission at hand. Okay. So yeah, in college you will get to know yourself. It's not it may not be your only you, but you're definitely going to learn a lot more about yourself. Hopefully you learn that you have control. Hopefully you learn that you're a leader and not a follower. Hopefully you learn that you can say no to boys or girls or, you know, whoever it is you're attracted to. Hopefully you learn that, you know, and come out on the good side. Hopefully you don't learn something about yourself that you can't look at yourself in the morning. Okay. Hopefully it's not that. Yeah. Hopefully you're not learning that about yourself, is what I want to say. Hopefully you're learning good things about yourself or things that, you know, you can control. Hopefully you're not out there over drinking. Hopefully you don't go to college and learn how to do drugs. Those are the things you don't want to learn in college. Hopefully. Number 5. Learning. Okay, we already talked about learning. But this is just regular learning on the line here. Yeah. And of course, you're going to learn a lot in college. I liked going to school. I continued my education. Well, here's what happened. I joined the military, so went to junior college. I didn't go straight through. I actually achieved my Bachelor of Science later, in life. I went to the Army, junior college, then joined the Army. Then I, one by one, knocked it down class after class. Then I had a child. It just was a slow road. Okay. I was on a slow boat to China. I had retired out of the United States Army before I even achieved my Bachelor of Science. Now I had a lot of credits. I always went while I was in the military. But if you do not go, and this is for you students out there. So if you keep jumping from college to college, which I don't think a lot of people do, but maybe in the military like myself, we do. If you keep jumping from college to college and don't stick with that same college and finish it out through, don't go, just plummet through the whole years, continuously, whether, you're taking one class at a time, two classes at a time, you're not in that dorm life. And then if you're in the military, you're going from uh that tour place to the next tour place, different duty stations. When I say tour place, that's what I mean. So you're switching colleges possibly if you're going overseas. Bottom line is, when you go to school, the ideal thing to do is you find your college, you go there like at 16, right? Like me, 20, I could have had my bachelor's degree. The average person, I think, maybe is 21, 22. So still very good, very young. Then you can go on for your master's if that's what you're going to do. You know, get your higher learning. Yeah, that's what you're going to do. You can go on and do your grad school. But yeah, learning does happen. It's good. It's good when you learn how to, you know, not I can't say write an essay. You learn how to write essay in high school, but when you're gonna learn how to just write those larger formats of a report, all the notes and all the footnotes and all the body and introduction, all that nonsense. Okay. Okay. I'm not trying to be a scholar here by no means. You already know. All I'm saying is you learn a lot in college that you just don't naturally learn on the job, like like how to do your resumes and understanding that things need to be indented and double spaced and where the signature block needs to be. You don't just learn that outside of college. You just don't. And in the individuals that do not have some sort of college, you can tell. And you can tell. So learning does happen in college, and that learning is very, very important. And I enjoyed that part. That's the part I enjoyed, actually. Just knowing, you know, what's right and what's wrong, what looks right and what looks wrong, how things should be, the order, you know, learning how to do that. That's why it was easy for me to write a book because I read books and because you had to format, you know, in that matter, the American standards. So you had to do that when you wrote reports. So yeah, it was very easy. I mean, and then just common sense tells you to pick up a book and look at it. And if you like how this book is, and if you're a writer and you want to write a book, you can write it just like that format. And then the good thing about um, writing, once you've learned, is you learn that hey, writing is creative, and you basically can not write. You basically can't write wrong. Okay. You basically can't write wrong because this is what you want to say. You're writing a script, you're writing a poem, and this is how you want to say it. You're writing a book, and this is how you want to say it. How you say it is how it is going to be. But if you hire an editor of any sort, they definitely are probably going to try. They're just going to let you know. And then you can just say, no, I don't want to say that. I said it the way I wanted to say it. Okay. Donald Goines spoke the way he wanted to speak. There was not any great English, okay, in the Donald Goines books. Okay, so yeah, learning happens in college for sure. So good. It happens in high school. Learning happens and learning is good. Number six. Number six. Okay, let's get it all out. Okay. Should a parent, this is a good one. This is basically the whole moral of this story. Okay, why I wanted to go into talking about going to college. Should a parent send a child to college that didn't get good grades or a scholarship? Should a parent send a child to college that didn't get good grades or a scholarship? Well, what is your answer? Put it in the comments, please. What is your answer? Put it in the comments, please. So your child didn't get good grades. 12th year comes around, they graduate. They graduate. I think this goes back to me saying or talking about the 2.0, the 2.0 student. Not to say that a kid doesn't can't wake up, and apply themselves better. But if this child, because you could know, oh, they're smarter than that. Like I knew my daughter, because I never was the parent like my mother. I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. I didn't do the checking of the homework. I knew she was smart enough. She was. I was very lenient in that area. I do regret it, not because she didn't go to college, not because I just felt like I cheated her. I could have given her a better level of discipline in regards to getting an education. That's what I think a parent should do. But I'm guilty. I'm guilty. So, should a parent send a child to college that did not get good grades or a scholarship? I think that parents should, with all their might, have that conversation with that child. And when you talk about parent sending a child to college, we're talking about this. Is what I'm saying. Should I spend my money? Should I spend my money? Should you spend your money as a parent and send that child to college? I'm gonna say with a big no. No. I'm gonna say that with a big no. No. That if they didn't get a scholarship, then let them go on their own. And I would try to talk them out of it if that's what you know is needed. But as far as your own hard-earned money, I think you need to hold on to that and let that child, you know, it's not like feel the repercussions, but if now all of a sudden they woke up and they want to, and then here's another thing, especially if they want to go out of state. Granted, you want to go to college with your 2.0, there's nothing wrong with that. So, what you could do is, yeah, go on to neighborhood community college. Go to your neighborhood community college. Go on. And then, because you're still like, especially your first year, sliding into your second year, you can make it, and possibly even you wake up and do better. You're getting older, you're maturing, and you can apply yourself. But if you in that dorm, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I really can't call it. Depending on who you are. Depending on who you are. Because if you like that fun life and you in that dorm, I don't know what you're gonna do. I don't know. So the parent, okay, should you send that child to college that didn't get good grades or a scholarship? I already told you what I think. But people, we already know it's been done over and over again. And just because I'm here on a little podcast, I said I want to say want to say on a little lonely podcast. I'm playing. Y'all better be there. Subscribe. Did I say that? Please subscribe. Comment. Let me get y'all. Let me get y'all working over here. Let me get y'all working over here. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Wait. Let me. Okay, there you go. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Okay. But student, really, just go on and tell your parents, do not. This is what you could do as a student. Okay, because I'm talking to the students now. If you didn't get good grades in high school, you was, you know, la-ti-da like me, right? Do like I did, because I did do it. I got my own financial aid. I got accepted. Um, I actually did get accepted to Howard University, and but I went there on a trip, and then I seen that I was like, "Oh, I don't like what is the neighborhood," and then I went to check out Yonkers because I knew, and then I knew Howard is like, this is Howard. This is like for people who was about it, about it. And I then even before going, knew I really wasn't about it, about it. Probably should have went there. Maybe I would have got it all together because I would have been around people who were about it. But anyway, I chose to go right up the street Yonkers is not that far from the Bronx, to my junior college and see what I was going to do there. I did. And I think that you did not, if you did not get good grades, you should probably just go to a community college first. And then, because you can always, bump it up. You can always bump it up when you're ready. Okay, let's go. Number 7, we getting there, we getting there, we getting there. Hang in there with me. Hold on. I got more in store for you. Number 7, the difference from being a student in the dorm and a commuter. Now, a young lady in the nail salon, I was in the nail salon just last week. We had this discussion. I guess because it's school time, everybody's talking about college, going to college. Every year it happens, right? But a young lady was saying something about even when she was in school, something about, okay, bottom line is the difference from being a student in the dorm, okay, where you're going to have fun. Because this young lady was saying even when she was in college, she didn't do something. I can't remember right now. But I asked her that question because she sounded like she went home every day. Okay. She sounded like to me, by the conversation we were having in regards to going to college, she sounded like to me that she was going home every day. So I said, did you go home every day? Was you a commuter? You didn't live in a dorm. I told her, I said, I could tell you didn't live in a dorm. I don't know if it was how she was saying she was up under her mother. And then this was also how she was referring to how she wants her child to be when they go to school, as far as like calling her every day and all that. We already know that does not go down. Okay. You go to college, you almost get your number. You don't forget it, but you ain't calling mama every day. And if you are, you trying to get her off the phone real quick. You might call her while you walking to class. Hey, hey, hey. You're not gonna call her when you're walking to class. Maybe she's calling you, you'll answer, or you will just call her and respond to the call that she's already left and that you didn't answer. So the difference from being a student in the dorm and a commuter is you're missing out on that dorm life experience. You are totally missing out on that dorm life experience. You're not getting a chance to learn who you are. You're not being challenged with, am I going to go to the party that they're having, or study because I need to study more? Or am I going to go to the party that they're having? Am I going to drink at the party? Okay, because you got to realize, for me, I was underage for a minute. Okay, but full disclosure, I was drinking at the party. Not bad. Okay, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me. We just drinking some little pub wine, just enough. It was nasty, but we was trying to get that buzz. So yeah, I drank at that party. Okay, I did. And we thought we was doing something, running up and down the dorm hallways, just being kids. Cause we were still kids, and I wasn't alone. Okay, and I was not. Trust me, I was not the wild one. I was not the wild one. I was just so excited to be out my mother house and just that. Oh yeah, girl. Okay, I have a. You know what I mean? Because I was by far the wild one. Okay, so the difference from being a student in the dorm and a commuter is the commuter is missing out on finding themselves. I'm not saying you should be in there doing the bad things, doing the negative things. And if you know yourself, commute. Okay. If you know yourself, if you know that you need to be a commuter, commute. If you are that person who didn't get those great grades, commute. Take you a class or two. Just, like ease your way into college if you need to ease your way into it. And the reason why I mainly say all of this, or I even want to have this topic on my podcast, is because we need to stop wasting money. That's a disappointment you ain't got to have in your life. That's something you can say that you managed and controlled and went through with some structure in the proper manner if you were not a hardcore, I'm ready to be this doctor, lawyer, Indian chief. Because you don't have to be a doctor or lawyer, whoever you're going to be. You could be a teacher, you could be what you're going to be, what you're going to college to be. You see? If you're not ready to take that curriculum and just go straight through it, then take your time and don't waste your money, nobody else's money. Don't get in debt, because then a lot of stress comes from that. A lot of stress comes from getting in debt on college, and then you didn't even finish college, but you got a college bill. Eh, all those loans, you don't want it. Let's go. Number 8. Oh, that was just straight studying. So studying is something I don't really like. Okay. I do not like to study. I don't know. Maybe everybody else likes to study, but I'm just speaking from my standpoint. It later in life, because I did take the slow road. I did take the slow road because I did um, take the one class at a time after, and I made good grades. And I made good grades. Yeah, because I did just have one class to study for, but I realized that I needed to be a studier. I had to study. But once I studied and got it down pat, I felt more confident, because of what I realized also was that I was a nervous tester. So you do learn a lot about yourself. So you learn, oh, am I one of the people who can ace a test? Am I sure? Do I not second guess myself? You know, I'm not one of them people who, just see something and I got this photographic memory. I even like doubt myself. Like, what was that? Was that? That's why I always like math, because it is concise. It is only but one thing. There's an answer. You know it or you don't. There's a formula. You know it or you don't. You're going to get the right answer. Boom, bang. So I did like math. Studying. If you don't like studying like myself, you're going to have to make yourself like, oh, here's what I want to say about studying. Studying, this is for the students, okay? This is for the students who want to go to college, okay? This is a word of advice, because I did find studying happening for me. I couldn't go back to my dorm room. I think I was going to study, okay? Because I could be like this, distracted. So what I found was I just had to go to the study hall. Go to the study hall, go to the library. I could study there. I could study there. Now, once I got older and just knew, hey, I just paid all this money for this class. Okay. I'm gonna have to get it in. Or I just put myself in solitude, put myself in solitude and broke open the book and studied. Just for me, anything that I do now, as long as I'm not now, but I'm much, much, much older now. But what I'm saying now, if there's a task that I need to complete, as long as I don't exhaust myself, like once I get tired, it's done. You know, once I get tired, I'm going to bed. Okay, I used to be able to push myself, but once I get tired, because I can stay up late. So tired, I gotta go after that because that means I've stayed up too late. Well, my tired is probably definitely past midnight. So good night. You know, let's go on. Number 9. What does it take? Where you going, number 9? Where you going, number 9? Let's go back. What does it take to be excuse me? What does it take to be a successful college graduate? Okay, gotta finish that out. And by that I mean graduate. So what does it take? What does it take? Okay, how are we doing on the lips? How are we doing on the lips? Let me because y'all have me out here. Oh, nobody tells me. Honey, these lips is still moist. I wonder if it's I think it was this lipstick I got. I'm not trying to plug nobody in, but hold on 1 minute. What does it take to be a successful college graduate? I'll tell you. I know. Look at that. See how smooth that is? It's nice. Okay. So what does it take to be a successful college graduate? It takes discipline, it takes studying, and it takes that discipline. If you didn't get it from home, from you being able to apply it to yourself, which you don't ask me for no advice about that. You know, but what I do know is a successful college graduate to me is just somebody who applies themselves, continues on the path, and doesn't get off of it. Okay. Now, you can still be a college graduate like myself, who, ones and twos did all the way till finally you got it. Or you can be that person who knocks it out in 4 years, 8 years if you're going for the graduate. Okay. So you do that, and there's a lot of them out here. Tons. Okay. Tons of people getting their master's degrees, bachelor's, their masters. And then more, you still have the doctors, right? You still have people who are that's required more than 8 years. If they have some kind of special skill, right? So that they're trying to obtain. So, yeah. But once you have become that graduate, you know, you still should be proud of yourself, as I am of myself, as I am of myself, because it's still an accomplishment. So, what does it take to be a successful college graduate? And I'd say the person who goes in freshman, comes out after their senior year. Not like me. I was in and out, in and out, in and out, you know, having to go to different colleges and then get residency all over again. Because once you leave school and maybe even leave, um, start with a new college, right? Once you leave school, start with a new college. You went to one college, you go to another college, they want something from you. You can't just get, right? What it takes 120 hours for the bachelor's, right? 120 hours for the bachelor's, 60 credit hours for the associates. I think I'm getting it right. Yeah. So once you do that, You still have to, okay, say you get, I'm trying to, I can't even remember. I'm that old, y'all. Well, once you have taken so many credit hours, say you're 20 credit hours short of your bachelor's, and you went to University of Texas all that time, and but now you're going to another school to finish your degree. That college is going to want you to at least take 10 credit hours, okay? 10 classes, 10 classes, not 10 credit hours. I shouldn't say 10 credit hours. 10 classes. That's which is 30 credit hours, okay? Right? 30 credit hours, three credits per class, 30 credit hours with them. You don't need 30. You just need 20, right? So consider that. Consider never changing schools, and I think they do have something out here now where you can, you know, just finish your classes in another college and it still be as if you're in your original college, or I don't know. I don't know. Like I tell you, I'm not here for that kind of knowledge. Okay. I'm not here for that kind of knowledge. But what I'm saying to you is, if you can, be that successful college graduate that goes to school from school you started off as a freshman, unless you just went to a 2-year college, you know, all the way to being a senior and graduate. Do the thing. You're young. You're young. And please, if you can, in high school, get that scholarship. Get that scholarship. That is definitely going to set you up for success when you just go straight through. It's going to allow you to go straight through. Somebody's paid for all your education those first 4 years, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You don't have any student loans. That's good. All right. And here we go. Here we go. Last but not least, last but not least, there we go. Who's more proud on graduation day? The graduate or family? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I could say because I do know, as family, I am very proud of anyone in my family that, goes to school, graduates, achieves that degree. It makes me so, I mean, you brag, you boast way after they're out of college. Way after they've got their degree and working and have not even looked back on it. You brag as a family member, like, I have a doctor, I have a nurse. Oh, I brag on my cousin. My cousin's a nurse, honey. You know what I'm saying? I brag on my cousin's kids who's going to school now to be a lawyer. My cousin, one of my cousins who I'm really close to. Okay. That's what I was gonna say some other things. Sweet, sweet, sweet about her. But yeah, one of my cousins, uh, her nephew, niece, they're just doing great things. They're becoming lawyers and chemists, these things. So this question, so imagine, let me just rewind that a little bit. Imagine the um how the Jewish people, they know their kids going to be lawyers or doctors, right? Same thing with the uh, Indian culture, doctor or lawyer. I don't want to take you into too much more now because I can hear some noise from my AC system. I can hear some noise from my AC system kick on, and I'm wondering if you can hear it. So that's bothering me. So I'm not going to hold you any longer because I definitely don't want you to be subjected to this nonsense that I'm listening to. Okay. So look, it's been wonderful. I still have some other things set up that you can check out that I was able to do. Got on this podcast, and so let's go on and move forward. So who's more proud, the graduate or the family? That's up to you. Of course, nobody is. I would think, you know, I don't think anybody was as proud as I was of finally getting the task accomplished. You know, well, by the time I got mine accomplished, nobody really cared. I don't think anybody really cared. I don't think nobody even looked back at it. Maybe my mother. But she's no longer with us. So who do I have to be proud of what I've accomplished? You know. So let's just go on. I want you to go on. And first thing, I know what this is going to tell me. This is going to tell me to tell you, no, this is for you. And it's saying, don't forget, like I was already trying to tell you down here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Okay? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I hope you at least leave a little comment. And I hope that until next time, may the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. All right? So just keep on watching, keep on watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. There you go. There you go. You just keep on watching. I'm going to head on out.